That's part of that filling in process I was talking about outside. Once the rainwater finds its way down through the cracks of the mountain and it drips off the ceiling of a large cavity like this, it leaves little sediments behind and releases that carbon dioxide, and another chemical reaction occurs, and it precipitates as a crystal called calcite. And all of these formations have that calcite crystal inside them. If you notice, there's basically just three colors in here. There's the white and the orange and the brown. The white is the calcite, the orange is iron oxide, which is basically rust, and then the brown is, of course, dirt. But these formations normally start off with these guys over here. These are called tubular stalactites, or soda straws is their nickname because they're hollow on the inside with a width of about a drop of water. And I could literally break one off and sip soda through it just like a straw, but I'm told that I shouldn't do that because it tastes kind of like sipping soda off a rusty bumper because of all the iron oxides in there. But these eventually clog up. They get a little pebble or piece of dirt in there and it clogs them up at the tips, like these guys over here. And when that happens, they fill up on the inside and grow thicker and thicker throughout the years until we have one of these. This is a stalactite. This has an average growth rate of about 100 years for each inch. So this one's pretty old. And of course the opposite of a stalactite is a stalagmite. Like that one right there. This grows the opposite way at the same average rate. Yep. And sometimes because of the way the water falls, these will grow just above and below each other. So when they get older, they meet in the middle at the tips and grow together. And that makes a column, like that one right there. That one's kind of a baby column. I have an older one to show you later. But underneath the column, you can see all this mudslide looking stuff. That's called flowstone. It's actually our most aggressive formation. It forms about 1 inch every 60 years. And since it grows faster, it tends to take over. You can see it's growing over and around all the other formations. And in a few thousand years, this whole room will be covered with mainly the flowstone. It's a huge part of the filling in process. And in this flowstone, you probably saw the sparkles. And those are unfortunately not diamonds. That's calcite crystal through the air bubbles of the flowstone. And up here, this is one of my favorites. This is called caved bacon, because that's what it looks like. And when bacon gets older and thicker, they call it cave drapery, or draperlites, like these are here. But our most unique formation is right in front of here, those little squiggly things on the walls. Those are called halectites, with an H, halectite. And these are actually a bit of a mystery as to how they're formed to geologists, but right now the theory is that this room would have been about halfway filled with water, and just underneath the water's surface there would be hydrostatic pressure pushing around the formations as they were growing out, and that's why they're coming out in any direction they want to go, which is really unique. We're very lucky to have these because not a lot of caverns. Oh yeah, they're the insect eating kind. They don't look like a bladder or anything.
Certain caverns, they close it when they have bats in their mouths.
They probably get a lot more than we do. We probably only get like 100. So over here to the right, there's a formation on the ground called peanut brittle. You can see where it gets its name. Now this one's formed whenever there's a body of water inside a cavern room or pocket like that, and all the sediments and minerals from the dirt will float up around the top. And if the water's still enough, long enough, these sediments and minerals will start sticking together into the edges of the room, and it dries out and makes a crust over the water, kind of like ice over a pond. And it usually isn't a very thick crust though, so once the water eventually recedes below it, it isn't strong enough to support itself up for very long, and so it ends up cracking up under its own weight, eventually breaking down into a bunch of pieces that look like peanut brittle, which is actually very dangerous for spelunkers, which are cave explorers. So if they're in here exploring and there's a floor of peanut brittle on the ground that hasn't cracked up yet, it looks just like normal floor, and if they step on it, they could fall into a pit that's who knows how deep below. Well, that's about it for this room. Answer any questions? No. Alright. Didn't know this room existed, and they ended up missing it by about 8 feet, didn't know. And so we kept passing by it for years, until finally in the 70s there were some spelunkers upstairs, and they had a little boy in their group, he was about 10 or so, and they always put him in the cracks and places the adults couldn't fit and follow. And one day they were exploring up here in the ceiling, and a little boy stuck his head right through that hole and discovered this whole room for us. At the time we
Okay, start calling, Brenda.
No, this one. But this one's about 150 feet high, starting from the bottom of that pit all the way up to the ceiling. It gets its name, the cathedral room, from the draperies of bacon. They remind people of the giant pipe organ. And back in the 70s and 80s, tour guides used to be able to hit the end zone with a flashlight, and each one would make its own individual sound. But we stopped doing that because, as you can see on the bottom, it did some damage to them. And so now we're not allowed to touch anything because we're trying to preserve what's left. But this is the first room that Richardson and Morton explored into. And if you look up the wall here, up into the ceiling, you can see there's a little tunnel with light coming out of it. And that tunnel is actually the natural entrance.
That one?
Yep. The light coming out is an artificial one we put up there so you can see it better.
That's where they actually came in?
Yep, that's where they came in. It's only about this high. They had to crawl through on their hands and knees for about 40 feet.
Ropes.
Yep, they had to go back and get ropes. And then they rappel down here. And if you look all the way over here, you can see there's the top of the ladder we were looking at downstairs. So they go over to that ladder. And just above the ladder, there's some more inscriptions and some dark ones. And if you look closely, there's a faded out inscription just above the darker ones. The faded out one is Morton Richardson's first inscription. It's the same as the one downstairs, except this one says November 3rd instead of November 11th. And the darker one, the bats normally like to hang out. They're little California brown bats. They're the kind that...
To the exit. So I can get out of his caverns.
Down there? Oh, that used to be what we call the champagne room. It was going to be a really small room that people could go into, but the floor was made up of peanut brittle. And so when we went in there, all the floor cracked up and it fell down. It goes down about 30 feet.
Say cheese, Theo.
Oh, yeah,
There we
video.
go. It's a little dark. Tell me if you can do that again. I got you ready for the last one.
It's on video or still? I may have told you the wrong button.
Oh, yep, it got it.
Thank you.
So no problem.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Hiking back down. Exit in a cave. Second night of camping. We drive up, and there's Brenda. Say hello, Brenda. Say hello.
The dough?
Huh?
What's that?
That's what? A Rogue River. Say hello, Brenda.